for wickedness is in their dwellings and among them. As for me, I will call upon the Most High, and the Lord shall save me. So, as it speaks also, I said in deep sayings, you got to know who a man mine equal is and my guide. This my guide, I believe, is being in the spirit, as David was, is referring to the judge. Dan, from Genesis 49 and verse 16, Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. So how is it a guide? Because they're the judges. They're the ones at the heads of the people. And in the last days, if a man is telling you that the tribe of Dan is all dead and they're completely gone, and he's hiding something, because this is speaking of the last days, and which goes deep into understanding when the last days begun. But here in verse 1 it says, and Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. So in the last days, for them to be a serpent by the way and an adder in the path, that means that they're playing a very dominant role in judging Israel as one of the tribes. It says that biteth the horse heel so that his rider shall fall backwards here in 17. That's showing that they play a very much a strong position in these last days. Dan is very much playing a position in these days. And if you go into verse 18, it's not until the knowledge of all these things that come out and that we separate ourselves on a righteous level that our salvation comes. That's the purpose of 18 being placed right there. Salvation being placed right after Dan. That's important. This is deep and dark right there. Dark saying to understand why salvation is mentioned after the tribe of Dan. But Psalms 50, as I found, is also one of those dark and deep sayings. Okay, another one is Isaiah 59. Right here in Isaiah 59, verse 1, it says, behold, the Most High's hand is not shortened that it cannot save, neither is ear heavy that it cannot hear. But your iniquities have separated between you and your God, and your sins have hid his face from you that he will not hear. So even in the slightest of sin, it separates us from our power. And they know that. The tribe of Dan knows this and have set up crooked things. Here in verse 3 it says, for your hands are defiled with blood and your fingers with iniquity. Your lips have spoken lies and your tongue, it says, your tongue hath muttered perverseness. None calleth for justice, nor any pleadeth for truth. They trust in vanity and speak lies, and conceive mischief and bring forth iniquity. They hatch cockatrice eggs and weave the spider's web. Cockatrice eggs are poisonous serpent egg, poisonous adder. A cockatrice is equivalent to like a viper, or an adder, a poisonous snake, and its eggs are said to be poisonous. And weave the spider's web. He that eateth of their eggs dieth. As I said, the cockatrice eggs is poisonous, and that which is crushed breaketh out into a viper. So they're hatching little serpent poisonous eggs. It says their webs shall not become garments, neither shall they cover themselves with their works. Their works are works of iniquity, and the act of violence is in their hands. Also a violent people. It goes into describing who exactly is setting up these cockatrice poisonous serpent eggs. They're violent people, and it says neither shall they cover themselves with their works. They can't hide any longer. Knowledge is coming out of the truth. In the last days, there's nothing covered that is not going to come to light. There's nothing that these people can do to hide who they are any longer. It says their feet run to evil. Another one of those root words, evil. Their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed innocent blood. The thoughts are thoughts of iniquity, wasting and destruction are in their paths. The way of peace they know not, and there is no judgment in their goings. They have made them crooked paths. Whosoever goeth therein shall not know peace. So they're setting up these traps, crooked paths. That's where I get the word crooked paths, which you hear me refer to as some of these Danite tribes, camp doctrines, and different falsehoods that's coming out of this cockatrice tribe. Crooked paths. Whosoever goeth therein shall not know peace. So a lot of our people aren't going to be covered, or not going to be protected by the almighty shield if you follow in any of these crooked paths, and they're leading our people with iniquity slightly in any certain way possible. If you go into Isaiah 59, the entire thing is about the Dan tribe. I'm not going to go over the whole chapter, but as I said, precept upon precept, line upon line, there's root words in here that go into showing and proving that the adder and the path is who they're speaking of. Isaiah 59:13, it says, in transgressing and lying against the Most High and departing away from our God, speaking oppression and revolt, conceiving and uttering from the heart words of falsehood, and judgment is turned away backwards, and justice standeth afar off, for truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot enter. Important precept, a judgment, it says, and judgment is turned away backwards. You can go back to basically Genesis 49:16, Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel, and it speaks of so that his rider shall fall backwards. Okay, now here in Isaiah 59, it says, and judgment is turned away backwards. That's basically Genesis 49:16 and 17 in a few words. And justice standeth afar off, for truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot enter. On every street corner, in every street, you can find a church or some kind of falsehood. Some of them are Danite traps. Also, they're in Christianity too. But as you see on the streets, you see Negroes calling themselves Hebrew Israelites, cussing out the world, representing us in a very false manner. One of these people I found is ISUPK's Johanna. The truth is falling in the streets. They're turning our people backwards with their images, their stars, or whatever it is that they can keep our people in truth in. Keep our people in sin in, and not in the truth. It says, yea, truth faileth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey. And the Most High saw it and displeased him that there was no judgment. So it says that if you really depart from evil and you really want to do the Most High's truth and you really want to walk in the path of the Son of the Most High, you make yourself a prey. These people they working with the so-called white man. So if you're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and you're exposing stuff like this, it could be harmful. But you must stay in these commandments, and you must do what the Most High says in order to be able to speak out against these people. And here in verse 16 it says, and he saw that there was no man, and wondered that there was no intercessor. Therefore his arm brought salvation unto him, and his righteousness has sustained him. So we have nobody to help us here, not even the Dan tribe who is consented with the beast in America, and the Most High is going to have to be the one to bring our salvation and teach us, and he's going to teach us individually the true righteous path on the level of scattered Negroes. We're Hispanics and Native Americans. We're scattered throughout the world, and not just in one city or one area. Here in Jeremiah 5 is some more Danite precepts. Here in Jeremiah 5:25 it says, your iniquities have turned away these things, and your sins have withholden good things from you. Basically almost the same thing that's being said here in Isaiah 59:1, where it says your iniquities have Isaiah 59:2, but your iniquities have separated between you and your God, and your sins have hid his face from you, that he will not hear. Jeremiah 5, your iniquities have turned away these things, and your sins have withholden good things from you. For among my people are found wicked men. They lay wait. Is he that setteth snares? They set up a trap. They catch men. They're going to catch a lot of our people. Well, a lot of our people are going to die following these things, but the blind can only lead the blind if they were foretold, if they were meant to go into these snares and traps, and that's so be it. They even got Hebrew Israelite traps. Right here it says that they lay wait as he that setteth snares. They set a trap. They catch men. That's the cockatrice eggs, the same spider's web that they were spoken of before in the last one. And it says, as a cage is full of birds, so are their houses full of deceit, full of it. Therefore they are become great and waxen rich. They are waxen fat, they shine. Yea, they overpass the deeds of the wicked. They judge not the cause. They cause the cause of the fatherless, yet they prosper. And the right of the needy do they not judge. Shall I not visit these things? Shall I not visit for these things, saith the Most High? Shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? So a nation he's speaking of who is among his people, where he says, for among my people are found wicked men. Then if you go down here, it says, saith the Most High, shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? So their deeds do not go unpunished. As I said before, there's some dark and deep sayings, extremely deep, that have caused for them to be misled into believing there's profit in lying to our people, but they fell for the strong delusion. Which we can go back into Psalms 50 and show this, that when it says, these things hast thou done, and I kept silence, he's allowed for them to do these things. He's let them consent with the beast. The so-called white man has increased their in prosperity. They've increased in goods and in riches. So when it speaks in Jeremiah 5 about them waxing fat and they shine, it's because this world has been given over into the hand of the wicked, and they've consented with the beast they've consented with the beast and worshipped the dragon that gave power to the beast. That's the only way they've gotten fat and waxed rich in these last days, which, as you'll find out later if you do some research, that a lot of these Israelite camps, the heads of the camps, they got money. and they do these things for money. They mislead our people for money. Yeah, I don't want to go into the rumors of the Rosicrucian check and certain things that I wasn't there to know for certain. But if there was a Rosicrucian check offered these Negroes who don't even have a mention in Revelation 7, most definitely would jump on that, because the things of this world pertain to them. The things of the world of the next do not. I want to go into Jeremiah 9:1, where there's more Danite precepts. It says, "Oh, that my head were waters and my eyes a fountain of tears, that I might weep day and night for the slain of the daughter of my people. Oh, that I had in the wilderness a lodging place of wayfaring men, that I might leave my people and go from them, for they be all adulterers and assembly of treacherous men." There goes that adulterers word. And he says that, okay, here he wishes that there was somewhere where he could leave his people and they'd be safe, far from their journey, far from where we really should be in this wilderness. But there's not. He's left his people in the midst of a lot of adulterers and an assembly of treacherous men. It goes that adulterers word, where it goes back into Psalms 50, where it says, "Thou hast been partaker with adulterers." Precept upon precept, line upon line. Okay, so here in verse 3 of Jeremiah 9, it says, "And they bend their tongues like their bow for lies." That's their weapon, is their lies. But they are not valiant for the truth upon the earth, for they proceed from evil to evil, and they know not me, saith the Most High. So they go from Christian doctrine to camp doctrine. They're going from evil to evil. They're misleading and manipulating our people, that when you get out of Christianity and understand the truth, that you can go into these camps. Many of our people are following them from evil to evil, which they've done, and they bend their bows for lies. Here in verse 4 it says, "Take ye heed every one of his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother." Very important right there. Is trust ye not in any brother. I continue to say that. Don't put your trust in none of these Israelites. Don't even trust me. Don't even put your trust in me. In what I say, study it for yourself. If you study for yourself, did your own history, then there's no way that anybody could manipulate you or lie to you. As I said before, if you study the laws and the prophets and everything that is required of us according to the doctrine of the Son of the Most High, then these Danites can never mislead you. The blind can only mislead the blind. So all of us should be in one accord in knowledge of this entire book, so that nobody can lie to our people. It says, "Take ye heed every one of his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother, for every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slanders." There goes that slander again from Psalms 50, where it says, here in verse 20, "Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother, thou slanderest thine own mother's son." So here in in Jeremiah 9, where it says, "And every neighbor will walk with slanders," is speaking specifically about that same people who are bending their bow for lies, going from evil to evil, the same people who are the tribe of Dan, who are confederate against us. Verse 6, "Thine habitation is in the midst of deceit. Through deceit they refuse to know me, saith the Most High." So they've taught you deceitfulness. Our habitation is in the midst of deceit. There's a word deceit again pertaining to the Dan tribe, which you can still go back here, and it says, "Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit." Same people that is being spoken of. As I said, you'll never hear these things in the Israelite camps, because they're lying about these things. They're the ones that are speaking deceit. Okay, so it says here in verse 7, "Therefore thus saith the Most High of hosts, Behold, I will melt them and try them, for how shall I do for the daughter of my people? Their tongue is an arrow shot out, it speaketh deceit. One speaketh peaceably to his neighbor with his mouth, but in heart he layeth his way." So they say shalom, 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 all you can think of, saying peace to their brother with their mouth, but in their heart they're trying to deceive you and do whatever they can to speak deceit against you and keep you out that true